Okay, so on to the next track in Sonia's Harmonic Rabbit Hole series, man. It's been a fantastic series, and I've been saying this on all reactions. If you're only hopping on now, I'd suggest you go back. There's just so many great tracks, so many great reactions. It's really been something special. We just came off another Rodriguez Sixto, which was Sugar Man. I'm not entirely sure. Is he called Sugar Man as well? Is that kind of like his alias? I'm not sure, but we'll just go with Rodriguez Sixto for now. And this is another song by him called Rich Folks Hoax. So it actually sounds like Rich Men North of Richmond. It almost gives me that same vibe, but I don't know. This one, obviously, I've 100% never heard before. Sugar Man, obviously, I have, because that was an iconic song. But this one, never heard before. Let's rock and roll. Let's see what we got.
Moon is hanging in the purple sky. Baby's sleeping while its mother sighs. Talking about the rich folks have the same jokes, and they park in basic places.
So this mother's obviously trying to put the baby to sleep, and obviously, as everybody does, and they say, oh no, the rich are terrible, the rich is why we poor, the rich, and all that kind of vibe, right? Talking about the rich folks. It's like, you are the ones that are propping up the rich. You know what I mean? You're the ones consistently talking about the rich, kind of because you are so infatuated and fascinated with the rich, and you actually have this disdain for them the entire time. Yes, there are rich, evil people, and then there are rich, good people at the end of the day, right? But at the end of the day, we're still all the same, right? We are the ones who kind of like put them on these pedestals, right? They're all the same, because all of a sudden they've become idols. They're not just people who are like incredibly successful that you can draw some inspiration from. They've actually become idols now, right? And it's crazy, because they'll say, and the way we divide it in society now, it's like, oh no, screw the rich, but I love Beyonce. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the way it is. It's like, screw the rich I don't like, screw the rich the media tells me to not like, right? But I will completely idolize a Cristiano Ronaldo. I'll completely idolize a Beyonce at the end of the day, which is absolutely right. These are rich people are just poor people with money. That's all they are. They're still the same as you and I. They just have more money. Sure, the evil ones, specifically from like the technocracies, the technocrats, those guys who are trying to gain world domination and control people, yeah, those ones are the ones you got to really be careful with. But that's something you need to resolve by voting out corrupt politicians, because that's who they work with, right? The whole system is just completely intertwined now, where the political system and the media system and the social media technocrats are basically one organization, right? And that whole organization works together in tandem and coordinated, right, to push one very radical agenda of this global domination and this global order, much like George Orwell's Ingsoc Big Brother story, right? It's here, right? But yeah, anyway, carry on.
And they park in basic places.
True.
The priest is preaching from a shallow grave. He counts his money, then he paints you safe.
I like that. He counts his money and then he paints you saints. You know what I mean? I like that. So it's basically, he's still human at the end of the day. So he might espouse all of these religious ideals, but you do get corrupt priests, right? You do get corrupt priests. And a lot of like very religious people will put these people on a pedestal and not realize that you do get corrupt priests, just like you get corrupt businessmen and rich people. You get corrupt politicians. They're not all corrupt in today's day and age. The good ones are far and few between, but whatever, right? But at the end of the day, humans are humans, and humans get greedy. Give them the opportunity to change the rules of the game, and they will change the rules of the fucking game.
Talking to the young folks share the same jokes, but they meet in older places. So don't tell me about your success, nor your recipes for my happiness. Smoking bed.
I like that over there. It's like, look, success stories are very empowering at the end of the day. Like, look at somebody who's unbelievably successful, and you look at their stories, and it empower people. It's like, I actually want to get there. You know what I mean? We shouldn't be a society that is happy with mediocrity or less. We should be a society that always wants to be exceptional. Everybody wants to be exceptional. Not everybody can be exceptional, because we're not different. Like, we're not, when people say that we are all equal. No, we're absolutely not all equal, right? We are only equal before the law, and we are only equal in our humanity, regardless of skin color, regardless of religion, or whatever else. But in terms of ability, in terms of capacity, we are not equal. It's just not the way the world works. There's no ways to make me be on the same level as an Elon Musk. I'll never be on Elon Musk. It's just never going to happen. It's just never going to happen. Or me with a Usain Bolt. I'm never going to run 100 meters in sub 10 seconds like Usain Bolt. It's just not going to happen, right? Everyone's dealt their different hand. So you just play your hand to the best of your ability, using your strengths, right? And you just, you take that, you take your strengths and your abilities, and you maximize that, and you will be exceptional in what you do, right? Because it's just everyone that's why the whole word genius doesn't really fit well with me. I'm not too enamored with the whole, oh no, he's a genius. Well, no, I think he's genius at something, but to call somebody a genius, so what? Because it kind of alludes to the fact that he's a genius at everything. So like, oh no, he's a genius, which means that he's a genius at absolutely everything in life. You know what I mean? And that's not the case. Elon Musk is a genius at engineering, genius at aeronautics, genius at car companies, right, and robotics and things like that. Right? But he isn't geniuses in other realms. You could possibly be a genius in a realm that Elon Musk would be absolutely useless in, right? So I prefer to say they are a genius at a particular thing, right? As opposed to just giving them that, that sort of gloss overlook of like, oh no, he's a genius of life. You know what I mean? So that kind of vibe. But anyway, carry on.
Smoking bed, I never could digest those illusions you claim to have going. The sun is shining as it's always done.
That one stop.
Carbon dust is a basic beverage.
What did he say there?
Carbon dust is a basic beverage. One.
Fire! The sun will always shine, regardless. The rich can't change. There's certain inalienable things that the rich literally just cannot change, right? The sun is going to come up, the sun is going to go down. They can't change that. They can't change the forces of nature. They can't change many different things on Earth. What they can do is they can play around with poorer people and things like that. But at the end of the day, this is why, I've got a saying that's, your last suit will not have pockets. Coffin dust is a fate for everyone, man. Everyone's going to the coffin, right? So, I mean, if you actually had to think about that, what he's saying over there, yes, it would make a poor person feel better. I think this is kind of like, it kind of feels like a bit of a cudgel to make like a poor person feel better, in the sense is like, well, they also go to the grave. Do you know what I mean? And just because they're rich, that doesn't mean that they're happy. And just because, I don't subscribe to those kind of arguments, because They might not be happy in some instances, but in other instances they are, or they might just be overall happy at the end of the day. I think we try to make ourselves feel better by saying, oh no, well, just because they're rich doesn't mean that they're not happy. Well, if I had to ask you, do you want to be rich? That same person, you would obviously say yes. Every human being wants to be in that position of success. So, that kind of thing. It's like, and then when you acquire that success, right, is that you're gonna have the same sort of thought pattern? You're not gonna have the same sort of thought pattern at the end of the day. So in that same way where he says, yes, rich and poor are the same people, just one have money and one don't. But to start making all of these things is like, well, no. You know what I mean? It's like more money, more problems. It's actually the other way around. Less money, more problems. Right? Because when you have more money, you only have one problem. The only problem you have was to make as much money as possible. Once you've like broken a certain ceiling, the amount of money that you've made is now more than you need. Your life becomes free, right? And everything you can attain and you can acquire everything for free. And sure, we can go into the whole deeper meaning of whether that's, once the hunger is lost and whatever, what do you live for? You know what I mean? How many people, why do you need 10 cars and 10 houses? That won't fill the gap. Sure, I mean, I completely agree with that, but that comes down with like a morality and a traditional sense of faith and religion that keeps you grounded when you're in those success points, and you realize that there are still the most important things in life is still family and community and that kind of thing. That'll always give your soul a sense of meaning, right? But when it comes down to the actual fact of them being happy or not, or the rich being like, more money, more problems, that's just a cudgel. Because at the end of the day, when you're rich and you've got a lot of money, there isn't many problems you can't solve. Do you know what I mean? The problem was when you're poor, there are lots of little problems that you can't solve. Whereas when you're rich, even if the problems are big, there's a price point to it. So if someone goes, oh, we got a problem with this, okay, how much is it? Just pay it, let it go away. Like, just whatever it costs, just pay it and let it go away. Like, I don't waste my time. Do you know what I mean? So everything is solved with money when it comes to that kind of thing. Obviously not aspects of health and stuff like that. So I kind of feel like I get the sentiment. I get the sentiment from a poor person's perspective where like, yeah, we're equal. Absolutely, we 100% equal. But there are some people that will take something like this and be like, oh yeah, no, being rich is just, or acquiring a decent level of money is not it's not something I want to do anyway, because, do you know what I mean? It's like you're not happy anyway, and it's all these little cudgels and things like that. And it's like, no, I think as a human being, you should push yourself and motivate yourself and discipline yourself to be as successful as you absolutely can. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, money shouldn't be a status thing. It's literally a tool thing. And if you look at money as a tool, and it's a utility thing, whereas like the more money I have, right, it's kind of like you being a handyman. The more tools you have, the more work you can do. If you only have a hammer, you can only do work that a hammer can do, right? Which means you can't take out any other work that needs a screwdriver or a spanner. And it's the same exact thing with money. The more money you have, the more you can expand, the more you can succeed, and the more you can develop as a person within the constraints of your morality, and your virtues at the end of the day. And you shouldn't look at money. And this is the problem that they are teaching the poor, and they're teaching people like this that money is not important. Money is important because you live in an economic world that is driven by money. And if you don't place responsibility on money, if you don't place value on money, and if you don't look after money, right, you're always going to be in trouble, because this is the way the system is designed. right? That is the tool you need. And the more of that tool you have, the better your life will be. The more you look after your tools, the better your life will be in terms of its longevity, the better your life will be then. So the idea of, I know this is quite a long little rant, and I don't know, I'm being somewhat incoherent about it, but whatever. But the idea of, and you hear this a lot from people where it's like, no, I don't aspire to be rich, and it's like the rich aren't happy and whatever. I'm like, bro, you can't say that kind of thing. I've had people actually tell me that. People say, it's like, you can't say that kind of thing. You can't have that mentality. That the mentality is money is important. It's like, oh, I don't care about money. You should care about money. I've heard that so many times from people. Oh, I don't care about money. I'm not a money kind of person. You should be, because the whole system of the world is revolved around that, right? And you're not doing your family or yourself no favors to act like money is nothing and then you burn it willy-nilly and all that kind of shit. You're not doing anybody any favors. Trust me, take it from me. I've had my fair share of burning an inordinate amount of money that I shouldn't have. Do you know what I mean? Money needs to be respected either way.
Dust is a face of everyone. Talking about the rich folks, the poor create the rich hoax, and only late breastfed fools believe it.
I agree with what he's saying there. The poor create the rich oaks. That is, but that's just due to the rich oaks' smarts at the end of the day. So it's like, yes, well, you need a labor force, and the labor force is going to carry that company. But then again, the man who created that company, he came up with the idea. He's the one who's commissioning all of these people. So it works a two-way street. Without the workforce, the company wouldn't exist, although the workforce is somewhat disposable at most of the times, right? It should be within every worker's interests to actually want to keep their boss rich. Do you know what I mean? So that they can, if their boss is an arsehole, whatever else, that's why you would move jobs and stuff like that. But big companies put food on people's table, and sure, greed is going to creep in and shit like that. But it's a two-way street at the end of the day. You know what I mean? The idea that the poor make the rich rich because we are the ones building things for you. It's like, yes, but we are the ones providing the opportunity for you to build things for us. Essentially, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the rich. That kind of thing. I'm talking about it from a business perspective, just being in the business world. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that is the case. It's a give and take at the end of the day, and you've got to learn to negotiate well. You've got to learn to be valuable, right? Be indisposable. And just because you're doing a particular task in a business doesn't mean that you can just be lax about it. And it's like, well, without me, it's like, yeah, but where I got you from, I can get 3 others. Make yourself completely and utterly irreplaceable. That's what you're supposed to make yourself in a business. Where, like, when you come to me and tell me, listen, I want to leave, I'd be like, okay, let's talk. You're obviously not happy. How do we make this? How do we make you happy? You know what I mean? That's the kind of person you want to be in a workforce.
Believe it. So don't tell me about your success. Know your recipes for my happiness.
Again, that don't tell me about your success in my head. I'm sorry, this is a super long reaction. But again, this is just mindsets. Okay. Don't tell me about your success, your successes, and don't tell me about, how I can be happier. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like being like, I'm happy to be in the state that I'm in, right? Everybody wants to succeed. Everybody wants to have a better life. By having a better life, they need to acquire more money, right? That's just the way it is. That's the tool. That's the currency, unfortunately. You know what I mean? But the thing is, let me put it this way. If you want to learn how to make ice cream, right? Are you going to sit there and be like, no, fuck those ice cream, those people who make fucking ice cream, they're too successful. You know what I mean? If you want to learn how to make ice cream, you need to go to an ice cream factory and be among the people who are making ice cream, because that's how you learn to make ice cream. Do you know what I mean? So if you want to learn to make money, you need to be around people that know how to make money. It's exactly the same thing, right? So the thing is that when people are talking about their successes, it should actually bug you. Like for you, who's, in that situation where, my life's not right, I'm not successful and things like that. It should bug you when people tell you a success story, because you should want to know, how did you get successful? No, how did you get that money? Like, it's knowledge that you want to acquire. How did you get that money? Do you know what I mean? How did you get that money? Because I want to make that money, because I believe I can spend it better than you can. Do you know what I mean? So you should always be questioning that kind of thing. So the people that just that get very in their feelings, where people are telling you success stories, is like, oh no, well, I built this business from this, and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to hear it, man. Fucking these rich people fucking bragging about it. It's like, no, that's the wrong mentality. Stick around and be like, whoa, okay, wait a second. Okay, so you started this business. How? Like, wait, I'm going to take up your time now. Just give me 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes of your time. I want to pick your brain over here. What were your first steps? How did you start? You need to be completely and utterly inquisitive about it. It's just like, okay, so how did you start? Okay, so you said you got this product. Okay, but how did you get that product? Oh, you got it from with the logistics through China. Okay, but how do those logistics? How does the supply chain work over here? Like, give me more information. Like, you want to get that information. You know what I mean? Part of that success story is a massive learning. Like, you should want to know how people got successful for your own utility, so that you can use it yourself. Do you know what I mean? When people get in their egos and be like, I don't want to hear your fucking success story. You know what I mean? You're egotistical, but yeah, he might be egotistical, but don't you want to learn from him? Surely you do. Surely you want to get some of that knowledge. Anyway, that's just me.
Smoking bed, I never could digest those illusions you claim to have going.
I actually really like that song, though. I really like that song. I get exactly where he's coming from. There's nothing wrong with the message where he's coming from, but I'm just talking in real world scenarios. Like, this over here is the very overlying fluffy perspective, which the majority of people have anyway. The majority of people don't want to hear other people's success stories. The majority of people don't like the rich. The majority of people use a lot of these talking points as a cudgel to make themselves feel better, because they're not in that same stance, in that same situation as the rich at the end of the day. And what I'm trying to do is tell you that, think about it differently. Invert that, because where there is success is literally a wealth of knowledge. Excuse the pun. Right? There's a wealth of knowledge that you can draw from that success. You don't have to like the person and whatever else, but surely you want to learn from the person. I can't stand Jeff Bezos. I think Jeff Bezos is a proper cocksucker. Excuse my language. You know what I mean? I don't like him, right? But I would absolutely love to learn his business processes, because they are genius. You know what I mean? So yeah, anyway, learn to have those distinctions. Anyway, I love you all, man. Please stay safe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.